The decks, I know, really help me. They have helped me. They are still helping me. So why change a winning team? Hey everybody, my name is Anna. You're watching Astrolady Tarot. Today I'm going to talk to you about the decks I remember having a special connection with that stood out to me in 2023. These 4 or 5 decks are not supposed to be specifically new decks in my tarot collection, but this time there's quite a few new ones. Let's get into it. So yeah, guys, welcome back, or should I welcome myself back? I haven't been on social media. I have been on my Patreon. I have been still having fun on Instagram, but YouTube, not so much. This year, I'm doing things a little differently. Also, for sure, let's just be completely honest here. My work as a dance school owner and dance teacher is taking up a lot of my time. It's not just because I have to, it's also obviously because I want to. It's a lovely priority to have. Then, of course, in my spare time, I do tarot readings as work as well, as professional tarot reader as well, which I also enjoy a lot. Let me tell you, I think you can expect from me in 2024 1 or 2 videos on YouTube a month. If that is not enough for you, I would completely understand, obviously. I have a lot of videos on my channel that deserve to be watched, or maybe deserve a rewatch, Go ahead, check that out. Okay, so on a more serious note, I don't want to just talk about decks, right? That's not my style. By now, you know that in case you've been here for a couple of years or some time. I am talking decks today, but mainly the relationship I have had with them, or obviously I still have with them. So decks that stood out to me. Now, let me start with the first one I noted down. No surprise, magical guidance cards. For all of you out there who don't know, because apparently I haven't talked about this deck enough, that would be my deck. Not a tarot deck, actually not an oracle deck either. It's supposed to be a deck for magical practice. And obviously, I've had a wonderful experience, and many, with this deck simply because I made it. I made all these photos, I edited all these photos, I chose, which photo would make it into this 90 card pocket-sized witchcraft deck. I called it Magical Guidance Cards, and I mean, it was an incredible experience to obviously do this huge project. I had made a goal for myself that I was gonna do this within 1 calendar year, and I did. I finished around October. Yeah, it went on to make playing cards. This deck is just, it's my baby. It fits in, I think, idea, feel, and colors with my favorite decks. It's all me, and it's been great seeing this deck in other people's hands. It's been great to see that people are ordering the deck and posting pictures with it. It's amazing. I actually also did my year ahead spread using actually Golden Rider, which is a Smith-Waite type, and then also second card for every month, magical guidance cards. So that adds a little bit of extra dimension, extra depth to it. I do think this is a deck that stands alone, stands very strong on its own. And you can, apparently, people have been showing me, use this very well as an oracle deck. But its main reason for existing at all is to aid the magical practitioner in their workings. So yeah, very much magic, intention work, manifestation, witchcraft, that part of my practice. And I'm very proud, obviously, of this little deck. it wasn't just the process of making the deck, it was also realizing that when I got it in my hands, it actually felt like me. It felt good. It felt like this was the product that I was working towards all these months. This is an incredible tool for me to work with, and I've been hearing good things from people who got it. You know, it's an relatively, because after all, everything is relative, but I'm gonna say it, relatively inexpensive deck. Oh, I love this card too. This is Cycles, Rhythm, and Process. And I'm gonna make at least one good video on how I use this deck, because I've actually made a spread for magical work, and then which deck am I going to use. You could obviously use any deck you have, right? I've been talking about this for years now. I don't think you have to acquire a deck to do certain type of workings. You know, you don't have to have a shadow work deck to do shadow work. You can just use your very first tarot deck that you ever got. Even though you might hate it, that might actually be good shadow work to do. Anyway, obviously in the collection that I have, I'm going to use this deck because it's made for that. And so the spread is going to be about how you can basically build your own ritual. And it's very easy and basic, but you can always build off of that too if you want to get more specific. I have this idea and I think it's going to work out. So yeah, obviously, I had to start by talking about my own creation, because everybody out there who has made and published or put on Make Playing Cards their own deck, whether it's tarot, oracle, or something kind of different, you guys know that it's a big thing. It is, it's a big thing. It takes a lot of time, work, dedication. And then to see the final result be so fitting to, you know, it just fits. It feels like that is exactly the thing that I wanted to make. And so obviously that is my biggest accomplishment that I can talk about in this video. The biggest connection that I had to a deck in this video. Then I'm going to talk about a new deck in my collection, which I got on sort of a whim. Actually, not really. Gothic Tarot by Joseph Vargo. I think you can actually still get it. Mass market, readily available. Great for everybody, right? Very dark deck. I'm not going to edge this one. I think it looks great as it does. You would normally, right, choose black or maybe red, but I like the sides because it kind of looks like an old book. It's a little bit bigger than normal tarot size, and yeah, kind of chunky deck. Definitely isn't the artwork I usually go for, but it is very dark, very moody, and it just hit the spot. What can I tell you? Gothic Tarot has been showing me in readings, very much been reflecting me. It's been showing me a lot of dark feminine, and I've realized dark feminine is kind of like terms that are almost, this is just my opinion and my experience, terms that almost both mean the same thing. I think the feminine, if we're talking the feminine, actually it's always dark. So if you want me to explain this, I just might, because I think the connection to this deck and the experience I've had with this deck in 2023 was so positive that this deck actually, I think, deserves its own video. Yeah. Um, it's so campy. It's amazing. I love it though, you know. This was a real unexpected fun moment in my tarot year. And in 2022 and 2021, I did in summertime, somehow that's the right time for me to do that type of work. I did tarot throwback. For me, that meant I'm working with decks I could have had during my childhood. Now, 2023 and 2024, I'll get into it. Inner child, obviously, still something you want to work with, but what came to the surface was inner teen. Teenage Anna came out and wreaked some havoc. I'm telling you. And it was great. It was great. It's because I'm in my mid-30s, and it's so true what people say. As a woman, being in your 30s, it's very reminiscent to being in your teenage years, except that you no longer care what people think. You're no longer ruled by embarrassment, ruled by other people's expectations. All of that stuff is kind of gone because you're done with that. You've been there, you know it's uncomfortable, more comfortable in your own skin now. Now you want to go back to those things and do them right, do them correctly, do them without shame, without guilt. That's playing with this deck, right? So this deck uh, was part of my inner teen experience and the next one. But yeah, 2024, it's continuing. Inner teenager is definitely having its moment. It's necessary because there's a lot of very deep shadows going on and or coming to the surface, right? Coming to light that are important to address, to work with. It's just good stuff. At the same time, there's also a lot of, just repressed feelings, like maybe some anger over here, over there, that you never got to express due to fear of people's reactions or society. And now, 36 years old, it's just time to do those things the right way and give yourself the respect that you deserve. Yeah. So, a lot came out of this fun tarot deck. Let's not gloss over, though, that the main reason I got this deck was because it seemed fun, right? I keep using the word fun because I didn't expect to get a lot of depth out of it. I was just gonna try it. I was just open towards trying it. Look, this is my hermit year, by the way. Isn't that a fun depiction? It can be seen as the bats that, just like in Halloween tarot, are the mind, so air, and all the judgments, the fears, and the anxiety, and all those intrusive thoughts, they are being banished out of my own realm, my tower, because I'm finally ready to ring that bell. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like to me. So, first reason for me for getting this deck was it seemed fun, and guess what? It is. Plus, I get really nice readings out of this. I can actually recommend this deck, guys. Yeah. Especially if you like really, really, really dark decks, color-wise. So far, Magical Guidance cards, like darkest deck ever. And then Gothic Tarot, also very, very dark. Okay, next deck is also extremely dark. So, first of all, my soul deck, I would say, and the dedicated deck to my secret sister, so aka my deity, my entity that I work with. This is a card I pulled for today, by the way. Getting off track, obviously, with Crow's Magic Tarot by Londa Marks. This is, as I said, soul deck, dedicated deck, crow energy deck, even though there's maybe 6 crows in the whole deck, but it holds that dark crow, pitch black, mysterious chaos in the terms of the nothing, and then life starts to happen, creation starts to happen, sense. Yeah, all of that. Very dark deck. Then also it's my inner teen deck. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I used that deck for the inner teenager video. I was really going through something rooted deep in shadow. At some point through life happening, I put some stuff away which should have really been dealt with. And as always, that deck and that video really helped me along that journey. And then controversial deck, I don't have Crow's Magic Revisited tarot deck here, but I do have the small one, which Anna also sent me. Let me just show you this one card. So obviously the borders are gone, and then here the book titles are different. I understand when people really don't like this. Trust me, I do. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. I just love using those images so much that I feel like I can't say no to a backup deck or a small deck or I'm not going to tell you just yet. By the way, I'm recovering from a cold in case I sound a little different. That's why. The next one, okay, real quick, because I talked about this last year, Rider-Waite Smith. Definitely making a comeback. It never left, but still it's making a comeback, and it's obviously here to stay. So, Rider-Waite Smith, first system I worked with. Still love it. Just briefly, this is the centennial. I do readings online, but then once or twice a month, I try. I do tarot readings at a metaphysical store near Amsterdam, and I do it with a lot of love, and I get to meet people. It's great. For a few months' time, I switched to Thoth to do readings with, but I realized that Rider-Waite Smith is the way to go. Now, there's one thing in particular that I want to say, that I want to repeat and put out there for people to hear. It's my own, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but it's nice to realize this. Obviously, oh, I don't have the package of the Centennial, but this deck is called the Smith-Waite deck because Pamela Coleman Smith is the artist. Pamela Coleman Smith, her nickname was Pixie. She made all of these images. She drew them. Waite was Arthur Edward Waite, who, how do I say that in English, hired her to do the deck, basically. We're not talking about Rider, because Rider is the company, I believe, that printed it, that made the deck become a physical deck and sell it. Ultimately, I would say not a lot wrong with calling it the Rider-Waite Smith deck or RWS, except think of its counterpart, the Crowley deck. Crowley deck has its own title, its own name, the Thoth deck, or Thoth, or Thoth, or Toth, or Tahoti. We never call it the Llewellyn Crowley deck, though, do we? We call it maybe the Crowley-Harris deck. Aleister Crowley, Lady Frida Harris. Why that really became a thing for RWS, I don't know. I'm gonna try to refer to this one as Smith-Waite from now on. Makes more sense, and it's more respectful to the artist. Now, I don't care that deeply. All of those people are gone, and it's just a name that you give it. But if you care at all and read about Pixie, maybe read Book of Black Magic by Arthur Edward Waite, it's nice to know who these people are, and this is their deck, and why not call it that? So again, no strong feelings about it. I'm not going to be a social justice warrior. That is so hard to say over this little matter, but still, you know, if you want to call it Smith-Waite from now on, that's great. And you're welcome for that information that I just totally repeated off of someone on Instagram. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that though, right? Just spread the word. It's a good cause. Last deck, again, new deck in my collection. Okay, let me say this clearly. Gothic Tarot and this last deck that I'm going to share with you, I didn't get them on a whim. I don't think I got any decks on a whim last year. I haven't done that in years, actually, come to think of it, I think. Gothic Tarot, I had that deck on my radar thinking it would be fun to have it and play with it. It's not like I need it because it reminds me so much of, for instance, Crow's Magic. Then this one I had on my radar because I was following the creator on Instagram. I mean, they do readings and then they create this hybrid image of the cards that the client got and tattoo it somewhere on their skin as a memory and ritualization, is that a word, of that whole experience and encounter. So great stuff. Now, let me show you. Tarot de l'Incarnation. So it's a Tarot de Marseille. The creator is apparently called Anjuli Osina, I don't know. Yeah, so French mass market deck, actually. I thought this deck was very much unavailable until somebody told me in one of my live streams that you can just get this on Amazon. Here it says, Puisse votre chemin s'éclairer et se diriger vers la lumière. So, you can see the Hermit card. Basically, it says, may the road that you're supposed to be on show itself to you and direct you towards the light. Isn't that an amazing quote for Hermit card? Now, look at that. Speak of the devil. It's very much incredibly starch white, and it's very much incredibly computer art. It's glossy, thick, but not exactly the wonderful kind cardstock. But it's giving. I have great readings with this one. I was just thinking about how to show you this. It's fun. It's cool. It's just a little bit different. And I thought I might not keep this deck. Actually, I'm still not convinced how long we're gonna spend exchanging information together, you might say. For now, I have it and it's cool. It's nice. It's just different enough to keep me interested. I think the creator really did some special things with it. Let me tell you, it's not like I was looking for a new Marseille deck, right? I have my Triomphe de la Luna. It's very much not traditional Marseille, but I adore it, as you may know. I can't shut up about it. There was just something about the artwork and the choices that were made creatively, symbolically, that intrigued me. I just had to try it. And I took it with me to France and I did some readings with it, and it was really nice. It's not like it's a new system, but with every tarot deck, there's so much to explore anyway. It's just a very nice blend between untraditional because of all the symbols that were added and the different deity that actually are depicted in the deck, and traditional because I mean the colors you might say, and just the fact that it's very much Marseille Pip deck, that makes it a wonderful deck to read with. It's not tarot tube approved, but neither am I, so or not fully at least, and you know what, that's perfectly fine. The only black background card of this deck is Arcanum 13, the one who shall not be named. 2 years prior to actually getting the information that this deck was available to me, I had found the big, large book, well, in French, in France. Actually, my grandparents got it for me, and I was really happy to read about this version of the majors in Marseille. As you saw, the Death card, or Arcanum 13, has some Kali influences. So that's what they talk about, you know. Then, for instance, we have the Devil card, very much looks like Ishtar, and so they teach you about her, etc. It's really interesting. A lot to learn and a lot to contemplate, and again, one I recommend. So maybe no surprises there, but as you probably know by now, I'm not so much about the surprises. It's just about finding the images and feelings truly that fit in the collection I already have. I'm not really looking for anything new. Honorable mention would be my Terrestrial Tarot. Crazy, crazy deck, obviously. It feels like it has been in my collection for years, even though I just got it last year. So that's what I'm talking about. I think my taste in tarot decks and what I'm looking for is very pronounced, it's very clear. And every so often I try something new, but then I think about it and is it really something new? Most of the time, the decks that I get these days that really are something new, they really don't last a long time in my collection. And that's okay. I'm not actively looking to buy something else, but I am very happy to share with you the decks that I had a special connection with in 2023. These were definitely my standout decks for these reasons. They really hit the spot, of course, alongside Triomphe de la Luna. Thoth, still there. Also, last thing, Everybody who gets readings from me will know, obviously, and will say, I can't believe you didn't show this one. But talk about Smith-Waite, I should really be showing. That's my dog dreaming. Hi. Shh, shh, shh. I should really be showing Hoi Polloi alongside Centennial. I'm sorry I forgot about this one. It's just because I am obsessed with this deck. I love it so much. It's giving me the vintage quality that I need, and it's an absolute joy to read with. For some reason, I mostly use it for clients. Obviously, again, no surprises here, but I actually have a message with this. I know I did get some new decks last year, and it's great, it's fun, it's interesting, but it really quickly feels like too much for me, which is why I realize I revert back, or I kind of stick to, or even I should say, I am loyal to the decks I know really help me. They have helped me. They are still helping me. So why change a winning team? This is what I mean. It's to be completely honest, all of these decks are great, and I'm gonna have great connections, you know, great experiences with different decks in 2024. I'm sure every few months there's this experiment, you know, something to delve deep in. But the decks I work with most of the time for most things, it's just always Triomphe della Luna Paradoxical and Crow's Magic Tarot. I'm not going to bore you with my top 5, but magical guidance cards, obviously. But this is just the family. This is the core. They work really well for me because I see myself in those decks, and still they challenge me. It's perfect combination. So what I want to hear from you is, what decks did you have a special connection with in 2023, or maybe right now? And then also, is it different from your core decks, the decks that you feel reflect you, and just the decks that you grab all the time? Because there might also be a difference there. For me, it just happens to be the same thing. Those questions, I would like some answers to those in the comments. That sounds like a very interesting conversation to me to have. So thanks for being here. This was it. I don't know when my next upload will be. As I said, no longer really have a schedule. I think I can manage 1 or 2 videos a month on YouTube, obviously on Patreon. Pretty much everything's still the same. If you liked this video and liked all of these things that I talked about, then stick around. I'm gonna link another video in the screen that you can watch as well that I think you'll enjoy too. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.